Before we start, I want you to hit that red subscribe button so you never miss out on any of our videos. Ellen DeGeneres. For 30 years, Ellen has been a darling of US entertainment. She rose to the top on a message of being nice, not being too crude, and never making any enemies of the rich and influential stars she regularly has on her show. But recently, with her defense of George Bush and a particularly awkward interview with Dakota Johnson, it seems that people are beginning to examine the person behind the persona. Ellen has been accused by people as being one of the meanest people in Hollywood. After a particularly bad encounter, comedian Kevin T. Porter set up a system of donations for every story of DeGeneres, acting like a spoiled diva, and the responses began to flood in. Staff members were required to chew gum if they were working around her, and people had to chew gum before talking to her. If she thinks you smell bad, you're going home with orders to take a shower or never come back at all. For her interviews, she demanded rare vegan dishes she never ate, firing her agents if they didn't have an emergency for not calling her back, firing personal assistants for not taking her on the shortest walking distance to and from the set of The Ellen Show, and trying to get a waitress fired for having chipped nail polish. Tobey Maguire. Despite playing the good boy in many of his roles, Maguire has a bit of a dark side. He was considered extremely difficult to work with, a quality that almost had him axed from Spider-Man 2. When Spider-Man 3 was such a disappointment, Hollywood execs were anxious to get rid of him for a new Spider-Man star. The reports were confirmed by James Franco that the two had an off-screen feud while filming Cider House Rules, mirroring their feud in the Spider-Man trilogy. While Franco stayed professional, didn't give any details, he did say that Tobey and I had a bit of a rough time. Yeah, I mean, we're good now, it was a difficult movie. Maguire also has a bit of a gambling problem. He was forced to pay $311,000 after one game. He reportedly told writer Molly Bloom that he loves to destroy the lives of other players. He even taunted fans and staff by holding up a $1,000 poker chip and commanded fans and staff to bark like dogs or act like seals to get the chip. When they refused, he would mock them for thinking they were too good for $1,000. Gwyneth Paltrow. From mocking people who are victims of terrorist attacks to her contradictory remarks on alcohol. Either she says she is drunk all the time or people who drink are stupid. The list of snobbish comments and stories is too long to include here, but it's clear that Paltrow is living in her own world. She has often commented on how stupid Americans are and professed how her African and British roots are so much more superior. She has shown an elitist mentality that actually does find its acceptance in British snobbery. From saying she would rather smoke crack than eat cheese out of a tin, she famously said such things like, "I don't want to be rich and I don't want to be famous." Or, "I think to have a regular job and be a mum is not as, of course there are challenges, but it's not like being on set," Paltrow said. At a signing for her cookbook, It's All Easy, Paltrow brought bodyguards despite it being a low-key event. Her crew proceeded to be rude to fellow guests and authors, even preventing them from returning to their chairs to sign autographs. Paltrow has bragged she and her British friends are so intellectual that when an American asked what type of jeans she was wearing at a party, the actress felt the need to just get up and leave the party, and then the country for such ignorance. Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's diva behaviour came out on the golf course more than the basketball court. He was banned from one club for refusing to follow the dress code. When his coach beat Jordan by a single shot, Jordan pounded on his door the morning after the game saying if he didn't get a rematch he wouldn't play on the Olympic team. The coach made the rematch just so the diva would play. His Hall of Fame induction speech was a 15-minute triad against everyone who had ever wronged him throughout his career, from his time in professional ball all the way to high school. These weren't issues of discrimination, they were personal slights he had felt over decades that he was waiting to settle. He even took a dig at his own children, who Jordan said he felt sorry for because he cast such a long shadow. His reputation as a fierce competitor even extended to fatherhood. Justin Bieber. Not exactly a jerk, despite a video of him peeing in a workman's mop bucket or some accusations that he has been mean to some fans, with one incident of him spitting on a fan, but Bieber has become quite a snob since his early beginning of fame when he was just 12. Justin Bieber's requests at hotels and interviews started out small when he was just beginning. From just a 6-pack of Coca-Cola and the candy stack Swedish Fish it ballooned into much more. That's all for today. I hope you liked the video. If you do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an amazing video from us.